Hi everyone, welcome to Mismatched Trish. Today I am doing an unhaul video. Some of them, if I didn't either get them for free or if I think they might be worth selling, I'll probably sell them on the app Pango Books. Okay, so these first couple of ones are very recent reads. This is actually even a very recent purchase. The Reckoning at Gossamer Pond by Jamie Jo Wright. I talked more about this in my November wrap-up. I just didn't enjoy it, and I don't think I will be rereading it, so I'm going to be going ahead and getting rid of it. This one was a discard from my local library. Claudia, Wife of Pontius Pilate by Diana Wallace Taylor. I also read this in November, and it was okay. I just don't really feel like it's worth holding on to. Someone may enjoy it more than I do, so I'll be giving it away. This next one, this is just a duplicate that I have. The White Princess by Philippa Gregory. It's a very good book, an excellent series. I had purchased this copy with the intent of participating in a book swap and then just wasn't able to. So I've already got another copy of this, so I'm giving away the nicer one. Another duplicate is Paralandra by C.S. Lewis. I bought this as a used bookstore ages ago, read it, liked it pretty well, not as well as the first one, but then I found a second copy really cheap from Book Outlet. You can see more about that in my Book Outlet haul, and just don't really need this one. This was another free book, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. This one I got as a library discard, or I think someone might have donated it to the library, and it just wasn't in condition to circulate, so they put it on the free shelf, and I grabbed it, knowing full well it really wasn't going to last more than one reading. The book cover's almost coming off. There's actually mold in it, so I'm probably going to have to throw this away. I can't even give it to a little free library because then the mold could spread to other books. But the nice thing about it was when I went to Florida and I wanted a book to read on the beach, I took this without any worry about it getting damaged. So that was nice. All right, Sigmund Freud, The Interpretation of Dreams. I did not like this book at all, and I don't intend to reread it. I practically had to force myself to finish it the first time. Another Philippa Gregory, Three Sisters, Three Queens. I just didn't enjoy this one. I think all of our books are first-person point of view, which I normally like, but the narrator in this one drove me so crazy. It was Henry VIII's sister. I think it was his older sister, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Anyway, she marries the King of Scotland and moves away, but then a whole bunch of other stuff goes on. A lot of it has to do with King Henry's marriages, which I'm a little burned out on, and I don't see myself rereading this, even though I normally love her books. This one just was a dud, I guess. Another duplicate. Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. I just purchased the trilogy set. So this is a second one. I like the covers better than the Netflix series adaptation, so I figured I'd just get rid of this one. These books, I found them in some of my stuff. I think they were sent to me on accident at one point. Just some short poems and short stories, Dover edition. I don't really have a need for them. I'm not really that interested in reading them. So I'll be donating them. Kat Richardson Greywalker. I bought this forever ago. Read it and just didn't really like it. The plot could have been better, but there was just so many things that were weird in it. I didn't feel like the main character had much of a personality. It did take place in Seattle, which is always nice for me since I grew up there and like reading about it, but everything else just I didn't really care about. I guess I should say what it was about. Basically, it's about a private investigator who is briefly killed and medically brought back to life. But when she comes back to life, she's what's known as a gray walker who can see paranormal things. And she ends up investigating a missing person, as well as trying to track down an item that seems to be cursed. And the weird thing is, all those cases she's working on at the same time all seem interconnected, which just seemed a little bit too convenient to me. Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I'm not much of a classics person. I read this mostly so that I could say that I did. And I don't really plan to reread it. If I do, I'll probably just get it from the library. The Shack by William Paul Young. This was given to me as a gift forever ago, and I read it. It's just one of those books. I think it's a little overhyped. About a man whose youngest daughter is murdered, and so he starts doubting his faith in God, and he meets God, who's essentially the Trinity, represented by 3 different people, as well as wisdom. And he stays with them for a weekend, I think, in a cabin in the woods. And basically, they help him come to terms with his daughter's death and his faith in God. And there were some good things. I really liked the representation of God, and the personification of wisdom. I think in the Bible, wisdom is presented as a woman. So I thought that was kind of interesting. It felt a little shallow to me, I guess. Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451. You probably remember this book. I did the read a book in one setting at the beginning of this year. I just didn't really like it that much. And so I'm not really interested in rereading it. So I did get this for free. It was part of something called World Book Night, where a whole bunch of different books were given to people who participated. This was from some extras where I was working at the time. One of my coworkers picked some up and asked if anyone wanted it. Since I got it for free, I am going to be putting it in a little free library. Barbara Kingsolver's The Poisonwood Bible. It was just okay. Not really worth a reread. 4 girls who go with their parents to be missionaries in the Congo in 1959. And they end up staying there much longer than they had originally thought. And I think what it has to say is very good. It's very much a statement about like white saviorism and how missionaries can sometimes do more harm than good. So there's a really lot of good themes in this, but the story itself and the characters weren't my cup of tea. It's not so much I didn't like this book, it's just I don't like it enough to reread it and want to keep it around. Oh, my stack is getting high. I'm going to have to do 2 stacks. Elizabeth Peters, The Painted Queen. I read a lot of her books when I was in high school because they were about Egypt. I was always a little bit confused about this. I think it's the last novel she wrote, which was basically finished by Joan Hess. And I didn't think it was very well written. I didn't feel like the characters were true to what I remembered. The plot wasn't very good or very mysterious, and it was just very... I've seen some people say it almost felt like a satire of Elizabeth Peters' work, and I could see that. I don't really even remember the plot that much. All of her books, all of her Amelia Peabody novels, which is what this was about a husband and wife who are archaeologists, and they go every season to Egypt to dig, and there's some kind of mystery about the dig. You know, an artifact goes missing, or there's a suspected fraud, things like that. And it had a lot less to do with archaeology than I think her other books did. Just One Damned Thing After Another, Jodi Taylor. This book was loaned to me by a friend, but when I was no longer interested in keeping it, I asked her if she wanted it back, and she said she didn't. This is one of those books that has the potential, like the story concept sounds amazing. Basically, this woman gets invited to join St. Mary's, a research center that studies history by going back in time. Well, a whole lot of it fell flat, and a lot of it seemed very tropey. I remember just dragging through this. A comic book, Rat Queens, number 4. I bought this on accident. I already had 4. I just hadn't read it, so I didn't remember. So this is a duplicate copy that I need to get rid of. All right, The Host by Stephanie Meyer. I actually really enjoyed this one. My second reading, I didn't love it as much, but the ending absolutely made it worth it. I just don't see myself rereading it after I've already reread it twice. In a similar vein, Twilight, also by Stephanie Meyer. I got this forever ago during the Twilight hype. I didn't read the books, but so many of my friends did, and it was just like, even before the movies came out, it was everywhere. So I bought this pretty much out of FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. I wanted to see what the hype was about, and I wanted to be able to talk about it with my friends. I read the first one, didn't like it, came across it while I was going through some old stuff, reread it. On rereading, I liked it better than the first time, but I still don't see myself reading it anymore. I don't really intend to buy the rest of the books. If I do read the rest of the series, it'll be through the library, so I don't really have a need to keep the first book. And then last but certainly not least, Frankenstein by Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley. I think I read this for school back in college, and that's why I had it to begin with. And I reread it for Halloween. It seemed like a very atmospheric read. And the book is not as exciting as you'd think it would be. The main character, Dr. Frankenstein, is kind of a jerk. Don't really like him. The most interesting stuff you just hear kind of like through the monster. The monster tells us tells Frankenstein what had happened to him. I mean, you really like the idea of the book is that you sympathize with the monster, right? Like the monster isn't really the monster. It's Frankenstein who brought him into the world and then just abandoned him. So I get all that. The book itself, not a thrilling read. And part of it is I just don't like this writing style. I don't like a lot of books that came out during this time. That's why I don't read a lot of classics and I don't hold on to them. All right, so this probably isn't as big of an unhold as you've probably seen on other videos. However, let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Even 20 bucks, so not bad. Hopefully here soon I'll be doing... Oh, there was a book I forgot. I'll be doing a little free library tour in my area. The last book, it's underneath the pile, so I can't get it out. It's called How to Become a Straight A Student by Cal Newport. I bought this when I was taking an online class because I needed it to reference, and I just didn't read it after then. I don't really intend to, since I feel like my study skills are pretty good for when I do take classes. So I will be donating it. All right. So hopefully we have a little free library tour in the future. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you next time. Bye.